nature of what we're doing to people. Look at this as an example. You got little girls playing around on Stickam. I mean, this is the kind of world. And it's not a good world. I mean, everybody's focused on this Vogue and this, you know, and yes, and some of this is, we're stuck with it. I mean, image and beauty are realities. I mean, there is such a thing in the world. But to allow every bit of it to be owned by some malicious, not malicious, what's the word for somebody who just doesn't give a fuck? You know, some not give a fuck commercial. Somebody just selling, you know, intimacy. It's just, it is on its face tragic.
Yeah, I agree. It's Chris seems to have this kind of misguided conception in her mind that she's in favor of the prostitutes by legalization. I don't think that she's taken into account the fact that I do think it's perfectly reasonable to suppose that with legalization we'd see greater fucking demand. I mean, why not try to create the conditions in which women don't have to feel it necessary or incumbent upon them to get into prostitution in the first fucking place?
Well, at least make it less of a lottery game. Like I said, it's too easy a way out. I mean, once you cross that line, yeah, you can capitalize on it and exploit it, and it's not like washing dishes anymore. It's you know, trafficking in drugs. It's big money, not little money, and it's completely exploitive. I mean, you might as well be a drug pusher, not just a drug seller, but you might be a pusher, because that's what it becomes. It becomes a selling game and a marketing game and all this other crap, and none of it has anything to do with giving a shit about human beings. And but yeah, I mean, from her perspective, it's about, well, you got to make these safe conditions for this bad trade to go on in, and it's just, there's not enough acknowledgement that it's a bad trade in the first place, and so maybe we should try to find some mechanism so there isn't a need for the bad trade. Well, whatever. Again, you're saying it's natural. It is not natural for men to pay women.
It is
not nature. That's not nature.
It's totally
natural.
Well, to me, murder is natural murder. Okay, I mean, what's the argument? Wolves rip up sheep. I mean, if it's natural, who gives a fuck? That doesn't mean that we should support it.
Well, like I said, well, even if it was, though, if there was some argument, no, you can't, because you're making a dumb argument. There's nothing natural about women allowing fucktards and assholes to fuck them. What's natural about a woman allowing an asshole to fuck them?
Women love men that are in positions of power. And money is just a...
And you're going to tell me that most prostitutes most prostitutes are selling themselves to men with power? No, they're selling themselves to men with herpes.
What they're doing is they're giving themselves up to power.
Oh, fuck you. It's a stupid theory.
No, it's a fact.
Yes. No, it's a fucked up, idiotic... It's nonsense. It has nothing to do with
You know as well as I do that women are attracted to power. And what's more powerful than money?
That's the glamorous side of it. That's the glamorous side of it. That's not the real prostitution. It's certainly not the prostitution that Karina is making her video about, which is this highly exploitive...
I'm with you on that.
Okay, prostitution. So she's not... I've made the argument that I would make the high-end pretty prostitution legal, because that's reasonably okay. Yes, women can have more than one husband, so to speak. Fine. You know, more than one caregiver, and they give some care in return. So yeah, if it has that kind of non-exploitive element to it, or as exploitive, I don't know the right word for it, as less dirty, then fine. But yeah, we're not talking about that. That's not most prostitution. Most prostitution is women in, you know, bad circumstances,
street corners with AIDS and herpes.
Yeah, selling all they have. They might as well be selling their They might as well be selling their, you know what I mean? They might as well just cut the vagina off and just sell the vagina. I mean, it's that, you know, well, whatever. I don't want to get into it. We already discussed it in pieces.
Yeah, one last word, please. One thing is, they treat this word regulation like it's some kind of magic word, and all the horrors associated with prostitution will just go away. And one guy actually was bragging that, you know, when the prostitute's in there with the man, that she can, with regulation, can have a bodyguard outside the door. And I said, I mean, this is something we're supposed to fucking celebrate, you know, that the woman, in case the guy wants to get a little too physical, he can maybe rush in there in time before she's physically abused. I mean, this is something we're supposed to look forward to? No, fuck that.
This isn't something we're looking forward to. This is something we've been dealing with since the beginning of fucking time.
Right, I know, but how do you deal with it? We don't need this fucking goddamn bullshit that this is some sort of, yeah, we understand that there's a problem between men and women and desire and relationships. We understand that dynamic. The point isn't the fact that this is an acknowledged thing that exists. The problem is what do you do about this addiction and this desire problem, whatever you want to call it? And what's the rational course? Is it some sort of stupid word like legalization, or is it some more sensible word like let's find
legalization?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just saying you like a dumb word because that won't fix any problem.
It's
not
a blank slate just fix everything problem, but it is
kind of
a solution.
And I think that,
well, whatever. It's a solution that creates a whole new problem because you're only going to sit there and create more of it. It isn't like illegal drugs. It isn't like a lot of things. Sex is more power. Sex is universally addictive almost. I mean, it's going to 90% of men are going to be seducible. Let's acknowledge the simple truth. And so let's not pretend that, you know, if there's a whorehouse, you know, 500 yards down my street, that it isn't going to sit there and pull me in like a Darth Vader mind grip or something.
Yeah, I agree. Gary, it seems as if you find yourself in the most unfortunate position because you don't play the fucking ideological dream game where we live in fantasy land, so you recognize the gravity of the situation, and yet the solution is not there, or it's not immediately there. So it's kind of a painful place to be at, I think, regarding prostitution.
Look, and I'm not a traditionalist. I mean, I'm not one to say that women should be trapped in monogamous relationships or men or this or that, but let's understand the social consequence. Because if you make this hookery thing too easy, you're going to destroy the only thing that binds men and women together. And so you're just going to turn women into sex into a service that men go get. And so then they'll have a woman clean their house, and they'll have a woman blow their dick, and they'll have a woman to wash their dick. You know what I mean? They'll pay for services rendered. We'll start buying each other a la carte. You know, nobody will buy the whole romantic Romeo and Juliet love thing anymore. It'll just be an idea where we'll just buy a piece of each other when we need each other. And that sort of sucks, I think.
I don't think people would ever actually get to that because there are people who are romantics, like myself. I don't like the idea. Like, prostitution's okay. It's not for me. It is for some people, not for me. I like the romance. I like the courting. It's fun.
Granted, I know, but the point is, though, as I just pointed out, this sex is seductive. It is not something, you know, you get a little drunk and you're going to do something you wouldn't have done. You know, you're out with the guys and they all say, we're going to go to the hookatorium, and you end up at the hookatorium. I mean, I'm just saying that it's going to have social consequences that you have to have some sort of way to prevent that kind of abuse. And I'm just saying, even just for women who get into marriage contracts with kids, there should be some obligation maybe that men who do that can't go to the hookatorium.
I want to go to the hookatorium. That sounds fun.
Yeah,
well, I'm just saying, you're a free agent and you're allowed to do that. I'm just saying, if you made a commitment to a woman, you shouldn't really have the right to bring home herpes.